Hey everyone, we are Team OrbitAI here to present a solution which redefines how we use and access the satellite imagery. Our goal is simple, to make high resolution Earth data affordable and accessible to everyone at just 1% of the traditional cost. Right now, most of the world is effectively locked out of this high quality satellite data. Over 147 countries simply can't afford this commercial imagery because it costs from 15 to 50 US dollars per just square kilometer. This creates what we call the artificial scarcity where critical information exists but only a few can access it. The result, nations struggle to respond to disasters, monitor deforestation, or plan for climate adaptation because they don't really know what is happening on ground. Free sources like Sentinel-2 gives us global coverage every few days, but the images are too coarse for precision work. Commercial satellites like Worldview 3 deliver incredible detail but at a cost that's completely unsustainable for a lot of regions. So we end up with this imbalance. The data exists but it's either too expensive or too limited to make a real difference. This is where OrbitAI comes in. OrbitAI uses artificial intelligence to enhance low-resolution data to nearly commercial quality within seconds. It delivers clarity that's 3 times better than the baseline with accuracy comparable to paid imagery, but at less than 10 cents per square kilometer. In short, OrbitAI bridges the gap between low-resolution and expensive high-resolution data, making high-quality Earth observation truly global and affordable. We used traditional DSAI methods to implement our solution. We gather the data and we clean it. We use the models such as SWIN IR transformer to train on samples gathered from high resolution and low resolution satellites like the Sentinel-2. Then the processed data passes through parameters such as the PSNR or SSIM validation, the spectral consistency checker, and also edge reservation to produce output of a high quality image. Now let me pass the time to my teammate Abhinava to present the prototype.
Thank you, Harshan. I'll take it on from here. Now I'm presenting to you the code that runs behind the prototype. This code has been split into 4 distinct files. The first file is the data cleaning. This is important because we have to remove all the anomaly points that might off-code our model to ensure that the model is accurate. This is followed by the ML code, which is the machine learning code. This machine learning model follows the DNN, which is the deep neural networks. And it follows this code into another verification ML model. This ensures that the accuracy is maintained. And at the end, this is followed by an output file. This output file takes an input of a low resolution image and it provides an output of a high resolution image after passing through all the steps that were mentioned by my friend. To be more specific, it passes through this thing called EDSR, or Enhanced Deep Residual Network, which is a specialized form of deep neural network. The advantage of this is that it is the best of its kind, and it ensures that even the tiniest details remain. Now, with a sample input file that you guys can see here, I'm going to run this model. And the model has now begun its work, but we have less computational power on a desk laptop, which limits the amount of time it takes to about 4 minutes. The results of our code are here. The output gives us this image, and while this was the input image. As it can be seen, the input image is very pixelated, which depicts the very low resolution, and it comes from a low-cost satellite. This, when put through the AI model that we created, gives us this image. The differences are very clear. In the first image, everything is very pixelated and we cannot differentiate. Whereas in the second image, we can differentiate building-like structures. And as far as vegetation goes, the first image does not clearly distinguish the borders of the vegetation and the colors, whereas the second image can clearly distinguish the border and the colors. This shows that we do not really need a high-cost, high-resolution satellite. Rather, we can make do with a low-cost, low-resolution satellite when we have an AI model like this, which can enhance the image to a high-quality image that we get from satellites. One limitation, however, of the model that we have in our desk laptop is the constraint of power and hardware resources. This limits us to urban and agricultural settings that we can analyze and limited amount of data because of the computational power. Now that we have our output, we look into the numbers that actually matter, which is the validation and benchmarking. We see that the output image that we get from our model increases the PSNR ratio, which is the peak sound to noise ratio, by 23.1%, which clearly indicates dramatic increase in accuracy. The benchmark that we've used is the image that is produced by Worldview 3, which is the high-cost, high-resolution satellite. We also see that there is a spectral match across diverse landscapes, such as vegetation, coastal, urban monitoring, etc. And these may range all the way up to 89% of accuracy. We see that the performance is also in terms of speed, spec-rex, and spec angle. As we can see here, OrbitAI performs equally or much better than most of the available alternatives. These alternatives, mind you, are not even as novel as OrbitAI. Now comes the business model and market opportunity. This OrbitAI is a very scalable solution that makes data accessible, and it immediately becomes lucrative. And it has diverse streams of income, from government, commercial, humanitarian to environmental, and much, much more. And given the fact that it makes data accessible, it expands the Earth observation access, giving the opportunity to much more applications. But the primary applications that we are looking at are precision agriculture, urban monitoring, disaster response, and monitoring of ecological systems. These have been the hot topic given the fact that there is increase in population and more demand for food, and increase in the number of cars in the advent of self-driving cars that require satellite monitoring of traffic, and also disaster response in terms of wildfires that can be monitored from space. And more importantly, ecological response. We need to preserve the diversity, and it has become a much pressing concern. And in terms of Singapore and space AI leadership, it is a perfect opportunity, as Singapore can be the hub for all the other Asian countries around it, and it can leverage this opportunity of starting OrbitAI. This develops multiple streams of income for it while developing a professional space ecosystem. And this is followed by the now or never strategy. Space industry is riding a tide, and it's going to hit $1.8 trillion by 2035. And now is the phase of drastic boom. So OrbitAI is timed correctly, and it provides the right services that people need. In short, OrbitAI removes the need for the high-cost, high-resolution satellite by drastically improving the accuracy of low-cost, low-resolution satellites with the power of AI. This is the future of space applications with AI infused in it. And I welcome you to the future. I welcome you to OrbitAI. Thank you for your time and attention.